Hey, Al fans. Just a couple of things. Two things that are really freaky to me. Number one, I can't believe I'm wearing this orange hat this week the way that we played. But we got 4 points out of 4. But what's even freakier, it's December, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to look what I'm wearing. This isn't what I'm wearing at the game today. I got my Al shirt, and I promised Cole I'd wear the good luck shirt with the cigar stain hole in it under the Al shirt. I got to look good. Okay, but I'm outside in December. I have videos from last year when I started this where I have this outfit on with a parka and a hood, snowflakes coming through, and the ashes were frozen as they were coming off. So it's freaking my mind. No hoodie today. Not even this silly hat. I only wear this for the Owl Report. So here's my question. I'm questioning how we're doing what we're doing, because let's face it, if you're an Islander fan, you know we haven't been playing at our best. So I went with a couple of assumptions, and then I looked at what some assumptions if you told me before the year started, and then what's actually gone right to correct those assumptions. So if I told you in the beginning of the year, October 9th, we had our hopes up high that Nikolai Kulemin and Anders Lee, integral parts of our offense, would go 21 and 24 games without scoring a goal, I'd say, oh, we're playing for a draft choice. You heard that right. They're on our second and third lines. I'm not saying they're not good players. I'm giving you assumptions if I had laid this out to you. Along those lines, if I told you that John Tavares would be playing like a third-line center for 3 weeks, 2.5, my son will argue, but he's been pedestrian. He hasn't even been a second-line center. I'd say, oh, we're playing for a third-round draft. We're playing for a number one draft choice. Then if I told you that Hamonic requested a trade and has now become our best defenseman, I'd say, well, how does that affect the locker room? Well, so far it hasn't. But why is he our best defenseman? Because 1 and 2, Boychuk and Letty are playing pedestrian at best. So take a look at all those things I just said. Kulemin and Lee with no goals in a century. Tavares playing like he's on the fisherman team from the 90s. He has been looking awful. And Boychuk and Letty just being average. Not even very good, average. Take all that and you say, wait a minute, how are we 7-0-2? And how are we battling for the 5th best record in the entire NHL? Here's my thoughts as I ponder. By the way, I don't script any of this. I'm just someone who can go right off the punch. I do this naturally. So anyway, here's my thoughts. Number one, you could argue, we've counted that negativism. You could argue that the tandem of Halak and Greiss are in the top goaltending tandems in the NHL. Now think about this. Last year when we dominated the puck and we looked awesome. When Chad Johnson was in, that was a loss. I'm sure when I'm going to Brooklyn today to meet a large group, right? I'm going with William, his good buddy, and my wife, right? And Greiss will play. I'm not even nervous. Last year, every time Chad Johnson played, it was a loss. So I got to say, outstanding goaltending has stole games for us this year when we haven't played our best. Number two, it pays to be unemployed next year. Right now, Oposo and Nielsen don't have a contract. They're unemployed for next year. Of course, they're going to be employed. But when you're playing for dough, you pick up your game. And right now, if you told me the Great Dane would be tied with Tavares in goals, and that my second favorite Isle, number 21, Oposo, is leading Tavares in points by 2 or 3, I'd say, what are you smoking? He's a right winger. No right winger should lead a center in points, which goes to my point how bad Tavares has been doing. Okay? Those have been huge pluses of increase in play from the 2 unemployed UFAs have been carrying us. They certainly won the game last night. Now, finally, a guy that I owe a little bit of apology to. I've been very, very anti-Hickey for about 2 years because I felt that you needed to be a big, monstrous defenseman to win in the NHL. But the Hawks proved with Duncan Keith playing 30 minutes a game. And I'm not talking skill set. I'm saying you don't need to be Uwe Van Coop and Chara to win. Hickey's a steady 6 defenseman. Do you know what Hickey in the lineup? The Owls have lost 2 games all year. The 7 losses that they had, Straight was playing. He played last night, but there was Hickey playing. And this guy plays with heart. He doesn't have great talent, but I think the improvement with Hickey, it's not coincidence that the Owls are doing better with Hickey in the lineup. It just can't be that way. Hickey is definitely a solid 5, 6, or maybe a 6 guy when we win the Cup. Right now he's a 5, but I think when the big boys from Bridgeport come up, Pellich, Pullock, and Mayfield, Hickey may be a 7 by then. But right now, you got to give the guy his due. But here's the real reason. When the Owls dominated last year, by the way, they haven't dominated this year like last year, but that's beside the point. They were possession madmen. They led the NHL in Corsi and Fenwick stats. They had the puck so much that their shortcomings were overlooked. This year, the Owls aren't dominating, but they're number 4 in the penalty kill, and they were 29 last year. Do you know what that means? I bring this up. I went with my wife during the Oposo 4-goal game. I'm going to bring it up again. Pittsburgh had 2 power plays in the first 7 minutes, and they scored 2 times within 35 seconds combined. This year, if we're playing poorly and we're getting good goaltending, and we have a number 4 power kill, power play, a penalty kill. Let me get that. And we're doing that well. That really covers a lot of sins. Great goaltending, great penalty kill. And here's another thing. It's a subtle thing. The one thing we had in common with the Rangers last year, and I know we're improved. I don't have the stats, so I apologize. The Rangers were last, and we were next to last in face-offs. Do you know we've done a much better job on face-offs? Because when you're last in face-offs or next to last, it's going to burn you. When you're on the power play, the other team gains possession, you lose 30 seconds. When you're on the penalty kill, you ice the puck and you make them come 200 feet. So those things have overcome some shortcomings. Now, as far as the scheduling is concerned, at least now we started putting points. A month ago when I was doing this, it was, can we hold on to the 6th wild card? I have higher aspirations now. Today, with a win, we passed the Rangers. The Caps are playing ungodly hockey right now. They're going to come down to earth, but they're the team to beat, probably in the NHL. Probably in the NHL, not just our conference. They really made some big improvements, and there's no denying Holtby at 24 is a superstar. So they're the team to beat in the NHL. You know, you just hope that they choke like they normally do. In the playoffs, I mean. Now, big week, 4 games, 8 points in hand. Starting today, large group of people meeting. We play a pesky New Jersey team. This team is pesky, and I read that this is kind of unfair. Usually when you do a back-to-back, you play a 7. This was the minimum or maximum. I don't know if I'm saying this right. We're getting the least amount of rest you could possibly allow, 22 hours in the NHL. We didn't get home to 2 in the morning, and we're playing a 5 o'clock game. That's bull. Now, I know Grice is rested, and then Straight will be out for Zidlicki, but I would expect this to be sluggish in the beginning or possibly the 3rd period, but that doesn't mean some of the other guys could pick it up. I don't know. I heard Stroh may be out, and Clutterbuck is still out. Then I'm going again with William on Tuesday. We're seeing, because I took some vacation days. We're going to Florida, who we always have trouble beating. Then we take that trip that's given the Rangers fits. I call it the other West Coast trip, because there's so many teams. It's that Colorado, Arizona, Vancouver trip. We have that coming up at the latter part of the week, and you could see what that's done to the Rangers. It's made them look like crap. And we're going to play those same teams that have destroyed the Rangers and scored like 5 goals a game. So we have that coming up Thursday, Saturday, and into the next week. So with that in mind, looking forward to meeting a lot of people today at 2. We may be there 2:15. I'll wait to get official confirmation that it's going to be where, so I don't have to say where we're meeting. It's still going to be at the same place. If there's any changes, text me, or I am William. because sometimes my battery goes. I am William on Facebook also, William J. Patelis. So with that in mind, let's go Isles. Look forward to seeing some people, and let's see if we can grab a couple of wins here in Brooklyn.